Mercedes demonstrated once again in Baku that they aren't as awful as they made it appear early in the season. Toto Wolff apologized to supporters and promised an entirely different car, but returning technical director James Allison has already rejected that claim. The Mercedes is getting updates, but fans shouldn't anticipate a completely new car until next season. Stay tuned to find out what Allison has to say about the upcoming Mercedes enhancements and why it might not be such a bad thing that they aren't completely redesigning their vehicle. We'll also update you on Hamilton's contract predicament, so don't bother going anywhere. Many people were surprised by James Allison's return to the Mercedes team. He stepped down as technical director barely 2 years ago, allowing Mike Elliott to fill the position. After a couple of years of being uncompetitive, the squad decided it was time to switch things up and try to recapture some of the magic that had made them such a formidable force. From 2014 to 2021, in Formula One, though, magic takes time to work, and until Allison can truly affect what's going on behind the scenes, Mercedes will continue to compete with Aston Martin and Ferrari for second place in the Constructors' Championship. Allison's return got a lot of Hamilton and Mercedes supporters talking about new vehicles. Fans wanted to see the existing W14 demolished and a W14 old W15 brought onto the track as soon as feasible. After all, Toto admitted in his apology letter to the fans that the team had made mistakes and that the zero-pod concept should never have been implemented. The team's single victory in Brazil was largely credited with convincing them that the present car was worth improving rather than bending in return for a more competitive Red Bull clone. Those of you who expected Allison to create a completely new Mercedes car will be disappointed because that is not the idea at all. Allison has stated that the team will not go back to the drawing board when developing the Formula One car for next year, despite Toto Wolff and his driver's insistence that a new car is required to compete for race wins again. The new technical director disagrees. "I don't think any of us would ever consider a wholesale revamped clean sheet a good or prosperous approach," he said at a press conference in Baku. "If the rules change, then of course you have to change with them. But engineering is about iteration, and in all likelihood, if you tear things up, and I'm going to mix metaphors horrifically here, you're going to just throw away an awful lot of baby, along with small amounts of bathwater." James Allison's description is quite explicit. But, hopefully, it's clear that if they go all the way back to the drawing board and try to replicate another team's car, they'll lose a lot of good information from the current car. They can start over when the regulations are updated in 2026. However, doing so now will result in the loss of a lot of good work they've been working on for years. All of these cars from the top to the bottom of the grid, all unbelievably good cars. And it's merely a question of how competitive are you? Are you the best in the whole world? You're going to use the platform you have and you're going to choose the path forward. Allow it to get better in the fastest possible way. And almost never, in fact, never would you ever tear things up and say no, enough with that. Let's change and do something completely different. The Mercedes team's message has shifted dramatically. Toto has given the crew the feeling that the W14 is dead for months. However, after only a few weeks back in the team, James Allison has completely altered the Mercedes strategy. To be true, Toto's understanding of Formula One car design pales in comparison to James Allison's vast knowledge. Clearly, Allison has noticed something about the current vehicle that makes him believe it isn't worth giving up on just yet. The current car's bones were designed by him, so perhaps he can see something that Mike Elliott cannot. In any case, it's a surprising shift in strategy from the squad. How do you feel about it, Mercedes fans? Are you concerned that Mercedes will continue to make the same mistakes? Let us know what you think in the comments. While you're doing that, let's speak about Hamilton. He was supposed to sign a new deal over the winter break, but that never happened. Wolff had made it clear that the only reason the contract hadn't been finalized by 2022 was because they didn't want to do it during the off-season, away from the bright lights of the paddock. Hamilton's decision not to sign a new contract with Mercedes is likely due to his desire to see if the team can create a car that can compete with Red Bull under existing regulations. He would have signed an extension with the team by now if he had wanted to. So I'd say he'd probably offer Lewis shares in the team if he thought he could persuade the 7-time world champion to sign on the dotted line. Mercedes has a large improvement package planned for Imola in 2 races. And while Toto Wolff, Mercedes team principal, did his best to play down expectations in the aftermath of Sunday's Azerbaijan Grand Prix, advising Silver Arrows fans not to expect a silver bullet, at the very least, there is a lot riding on its success. Both Hamilton and Mercedes will need to see progress in order to commit to a new multi-million-pound deal. It's difficult to emphasize how devastating Mercedes' start to the season was. Hamilton does not want to waste the rest of his career battling for 6th place. If he's going to extend, he'll want to be relatively satisfied that Mercedes can at least compete with Red Bull in the coming years. Mercedes, too, will require that assurance if they are to pay his exorbitant compensation. The rest is minor. There were speculations in Baku that Hamilton wants a 2-year agreement at Mercedes, or a 1-year deal with a 1-year option. There will be speculation regarding other drivers. Rumors such as those involving Ferrari will be declared. But the car is at the heart of it all. Hamilton, in reality, has few options. Ferrari and Aston Martin are currently on par with Mercedes, and it is doubtful that a lifetime affiliation with the German automaker is worth surrendering. Red Bull would be insane, but it's difficult to imagine it happening. The pairing of Hamilton and Max Verstappen would be fantastic for the neutral, but neither Horner nor Verstappen require or desire it. It'd be like pouring gasoline on an open flame. Mercedes must just get this next step right. That's why Wolff is attempting to downplay the situation. When asked if the W14 enhancements were still planned for Imola, the Austrian answered that they were. The target is Imola, but I need to manage everybody's expectations because we're talking so much about that upgrade, but we're not going to put it down on the track and drive circles around Red Bull. He issued a warning following the race on Sunday. Hamilton is aware of this, but he is also aware of how crucial the next month is to his future. He's often stated that he's pleased at Mercedes and intends to stay, but both he and the team need to know they're on the right route. It's been just counting the days down or counting the weeks down. The 38-year-old admitted on Sunday, "We don't currently know exactly how good the upgrade will be, but we know it will be a start of something new for us." It was anticipated up to the backup Grand Prix that the Imola improvements would be the start of an entirely new car taking shape. But, given what James Allison has said, it's possible that it won't be. There remain 3 weeks in the Miami Grand Prix until we see the cars on track in Italy, so any leaks of the update are premature. For the time being, we'll simply have to wait and see what Miami has to offer at this point. Azerbaijan had a dismal weekend. Hamilton did offer some complimentary remarks about the team, a good sign for Mercedes fans hoping he'll continue on after the end of the year. He stated that the crew seemed to be getting closer to their destination. The mentality in the team is great. There's such a winning mindset and everyone is focused on progressing and getting to where we know we can get to. It's just taking some steps. I don't think there were any mistakes. There aren't any lessons or this is a failure. I think this is just the build to getting where we need to be. Do you think Hamilton will sign a new deal if Mercedes improves in Imola, or do you think they won't compete for a championship in the next few years? Let us know what you think in the comments section below. And until next time, drive safely and bye for the time being.